is up, guys? It's Jake from Team Insanity, and I am bringing you the Vanquish 2.0 review. A lot of people have been asking for it. I've shot this gun a lot. Not this, I mean, I've used this one a decent amount, actually really good amount. But I've used a lot of Vanquish 2s. DJ's owned like 50 of them. So, this is Travis's. I've been trying to own one. I actually almost bought one, and then, you know, I got a speeding ticket one day. Actually, it wasn't even a speeding ticket, but whatever. So, you know, something kind of happened, and I was like, ah, whatever. I don't really need a Vanquish that bad. I already have one. So, first things first, it comes in the Empire soft case packaging. It's not bad of a packaging. It really isn't. You get a barrel cover, a nice Empire barrel cover. What else do you get? You know, you get the USB. I mean, you get basic packaging stuff that you're going to need for all of your gun needs. This is some extra lube that doesn't come with it. It doesn't come with a manual, like a fold-out manual. That's bullshit. It needs to come with the manual. Empire, go fuck yourself. Get yourself a real manual. Sorry for my language for anyone that offend. You know, I don't really care. So this is like the little spare parts kit, and again, not the biggest spare parts kit, but you're probably not going to need it. You get the original silver tip bolt. That's going to get you a little bit better efficiency, a little bit better in colder weather, not as smooth though. And the cool thing about the Vanquish, if you guys don't already know, it takes one Allen key for the entire gun. Okay, so this Allen key is going to take apart every single screw on this. This is going to fit. So you don't need to carry around a full Allen set anymore. You only need to carry one around. When they introduced that in the Vanquish 1, I was like, damn, that's pretty cool. Why hasn't anyone ever thought about that? Just like how Planet Eclipse put AA batteries for, you know, they're in their grip frame. Damn. I mean, this is really cool that we're in this day and age right now where they're coming out with all these cool ideas. So you get a really, really cool barrel kit. It's not the best barrel kit on the market. Would I rate it above, you know, like what Simon Stevens is making at Inception Design? Absolutely not. But again, it's a decent barrel kit. You get some really good backs. I'm trying to pull it out, but they're all anodized to match. So the blue is wicked awesome. So let me get this is a 685 barrel back. Let me put this sucker on there. 685s are my personal preference here in Michigan. So you get a 685. This is a 682. Let me get the other one for you. This one is a 688. And the next one is a 691. So if you guys remember upon the original Vanquish review, I don't know if you guys have been watching that long, but on the original Vanquish review, and on the Empire Sniper review, and on basically every other Empire gun that came with the Empire barrel kit, they did their increments in 0.5, which was really stupid. So what I mean by that is their bore sizes. So you got like a 680, 685, 690, 695. You're not going to use 695. You might use the 690 depending upon where you're at, and you might use the 680. So, but instead of having increments spread out that large of a span, if they, you know, they did, but when they narrowed, you know, when it was so large, you covered a wide variety of paint. But who uses 695 paint? I would have rather have had them take that 695 barrel bore and put it into something that's closer, which is what they did, which I named off. So which is what they did. They sort of took it and put it into actual usable bore sizes, with the 691 being the largest, which is pretty awesome. They actually listen. That's something really cool about Empire, is that they're actually listening to that kind of stuff. So one thing is that Empire just needs to listen, is that, you know what, this whole having to send your regulator in and your ASA into Empire is just complete trash. I shouldn't have to go out, you know, to Home Depot to buy extra stupid parts, or just to take apart the regulator correctly. That's, you know, these aren't supposed to be touched, okay? Which I understand. They don't want you touching them. But if I'm in the middle of a tournament, you know, say the NXPL, which is an event here in Michigan that Team Insanity plays. It's not like World Cup. You're not going to have Empire text there. You're not going to have the Empire booth set up to where, you know, if you go to take this apart, it's not going to void your warranty. You know what I mean? So you're going to void your warranty when you take this apart at your tournament if you direly have to fix your gun. So and you're gonna need special tools and everything else. It's stupid. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. What they need to do is just say, bite the bullet and say, you know what? Things are gonna happen. Guns are gonna break down. We're playing in harsh environments. We're playing in mud, dirt, rain, sleet, snow. We're playing in everything, dust, everything. You know, everything. We play in harsh environments. So saying that 100% of these regulators aren't gonna have to be serviced and sent in, especially during a tournament, that's the stupidest thing ever. So they need to just sort of suck it up, Buttercup, and just say, you know what? We're gonna fix all of the ASAs. We're gonna send out either new ones or on the new models of whatever gun that they're coming out, make them serviceable. Okay, these just need to be serviceable. I don't want to have to send my gun to you guys and wait for my gun to be serviced. Okay, I want to be able to take care of it. End of story. That is just end of rant right there. But Empire, take care of that. That is just absolute horse shit. I am sorry. I want to maintenance my gun, and you know what? If something happens to it, I want to be able to take it apart. I don't want to have extra special tools or training. You know, I just want it right there, ready, available for me. So, first things, one of the other things that actually sort of when I shoot other guns and I go back to this gun, this grip frame in the back, oh, for the love of God, it is fantastic. It's comfy. It fits my hand awesome. It fits basically everyone's hand. DJ has big grizzly paw hair, bare hands. John, he's not a small guy. He used this. Basically, we have a lot of people using this, and not one person complained about the grip frame. Not one. It has fit basically everyone's hands. So, which is really cool. It's nice and thin. The only thing that's weird though, the front gets a little fat. So when I'm holding on, it's fatter than the back. If that makes sense, it's like you have this really, really thin grip frame in the back, and then you go and you hold on to the front, and you're like, what happened? Now, when you actually use a Vanquish all the time and the Axe Pros and that kind of stuff, it's no big deal. You're used to it. But when I was shooting the M2, when I was shooting the VCOMs, when I was shooting everything else that wasn't an Empire gun, all of a sudden I went, you know, I shot those for a few months, and I went up to this one. I'm like, wow, that front grip frame is totally way different than the back grip frame, and it felt really weird and yeah. You get used to it fairly quick. It's not that big of a deal. It's no biggie. So again, the board, it turns out you're not going to be able to see it, but it's in here. You have a really cool board. You get your pressures, your battery life, you're going to get your shot count, you're going to get all kinds of really cool stuff in here. The joystick is I sort of touched on it in the M2 video. The joystick on this one compared to the M2, it feels cheapy. I think it's the rubber that they use over the joystick. And I only noticed it just because the M2 joystick was a little bit nicer. I don't mean to turn this into Vanquish versus M2, but that's sort of something that I noticed, is that it sticks when you're going up a little bit. So it's just a joystick. That's how you go through the interfaces. Again, most people already know how this works. That's how you go through the interfaces, is that little joystick, and you know what I mean? It's just sort of one of those things that I think it could be done a little bit nicer. So, but overall, it's a really good board. It's a good system. Again, it's a $1,500 gun. It's gonna have every mode that you're gonna want. What can you say about it? There's nothing really to touch on. It's an OLED board. It lights up and it goes pew 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 down. You know, it does its thing. Bolt, really easy bolt to get to. It's sort of like a Lux bolt. Cough. But let me pull this sucker out. Really easy to disassemble. Again, you're not going to really have to worry about all of a sudden hitting this when you're on the field and it flying out at you. It's not going to happen. I mean, you would have to really push that sucker down. You got a long way to push, so you're not going to have to worry about a tree branch or something like that coming in and hitting this or whatever. It's just not going to happen. Feed neck, hold your hopper. There's nothing really much to say about it. You know, we're kind of past those days with having to modify your feed necks and put extra feed necks on it. It's just sort of a given now, even in like the $200, $300 price range. You're going to get a good feed neck on your gun. It's just, it's a given. You're going to get a good feed neck. There's nothing that you can say about it. The barrel, again, you get a good barrel kit. Now the porting on this is pretty wicked. Unlike the Vanquish 1.5, the Vanquish 1.5 had the carbon fiber tip. So with it having a carbon fiber tip, it's going to be louder because of how thin that carbon fiber is. I'm sorry for all you carbon fiber barrel lovers out there. I love carbon fiber barrels. But if you make a tip like a Deadly Wind barrel, it's going to be louder, okay? You're going to have snap because that you're going to get a little snappy kind of sound. I'm sorry, it's just that's how it is. And the reason why is because it's so thin that all of that material is just going to vibrate and it's going to give you a louder sound. So now when they went back to this aluminum that's a little bit thicker, and it's not carbon fiber, it's not going to have as much flex as a carbon fiber. Believe me, if I had a Phantom, if I had a $200,000 slow motion camera, I could show it to you, but we don't. So you just sort of have to believe me. It happens. Carbon fiber barrel tip on the old Vanquish was louder than this one. So just sort of keep that in mind. It's a true thing. The ergonomics, again, it's not the worst thing in the world. I can hold this gun several different ways. This gun is long, okay? This thing is very, very long. It's the second longest gun out there. The number one being the Clone 5. So just sort of keep that in mind, is that this is a long gun. I'm a Snake player. I've used this in Snake, okay? I no problems with using long guns in Snake. I use my Vanquish 1.5 in Snake. So it's not like because you play Snake, you can't buy this gun. That's the stupidest argument I've ever heard. I play Snake, I stay tight, I do perfectly fine. You still shoot people, okay? You're talking fractions and fractions of how big this is. If you're getting shot on your gun, you need to stop sticking your gun halfway out the, you need to stop shooting over your bunker like this, because then you're just doing it wrong. So, I stay in there nice and tight. You can still get in there really good. But it is very, very long, so they do really target those back players. I have to say, overall, this is the best running and gunning gun I've ever used. Just no doubt. I feel really, really comfortable running and gunning, and I can see my lanes just a lot better and a lot more clear and a lot more straight when I'm running and gunning, just because I have such a good grip. I have really good space and I can really maintain control of this gun. So when I'm running out to those corners, if you're a big guy and you're running out to that corner, you can have a good grasp on this. You're going to have really good space between your hands. And you're going to be able to run out to that corner. You're going to be able to hold a lane. You're going to be able to hold it very, very straight. I don't know what it is. If it's just because it's longer, I don't know how that works. But I can hold a lane fantastic when I was running out to corners with my 1.5 and the 2.0. Absolutely fantastic. So you can really, really dig deep into those. And again, it's not too front heavy to where if you're going to reload and you reload your paint where your gun is going to tip down, unless if you're using a front heavy hopper. But again, just sort of keep that in mind, is that a lot of your weight is evenly distributed throughout this gun. So if you're going to reload one-handed, it's a little bit front heavy, but when you throw that tank on, even if it's an SL tank where your hopper and everything is sitting at, it's sitting a little bit farther back by this grip. So your weight is going to be a little bit back here. It's easier to balance in the back of your hand than in the front of your hand. So when you have your hopper on here, it's going to tilt back just a little bit. So when you're reloading with one hand and you go and dump that paint in, you're going to be able to hold that lane very, very nicely without it nosediving or doing something crazy. Especially with these SL tanks coming out, I've seen a lot of more guns front heavy. So just sort of keep that in mind, as I haven't had a problem with that at all. It's just very, very evenly distributed. I just think it's awesome. Eye covers. They cover your eyes. They're nice, sleek. They're integrated inside the body. It's a very nice finish. When I go and rub my fingers across them, it's not like the eyes protrude out or anything like that. Really awesome. Trigger, Empire, grade A. You guys make awesome triggers. Don't stop at what you're doing, okay? Trigger is absolutely amazing whether you're playing semi, especially if you're playing semi, I should say. If you're playing semi, these triggers are great. Empire, especially with the axe, which I just so conveniently have here. This thing bounces like crazy. It is just a really, really easy trigger to roll. They don't change that with this. I mean, if you're playing ramping or if you're playing semi, you're really going to be able to get on this sucker and really let it go. So, you guys are probably wondering why I brought you here today. So this is a public service announcement. Is the Vanquish 2 probably is the smoothest that I have shot minus the Lux Ice. Right now I've dry fired a Lux Ice. I've been able to get my hands on it, but I haven't given it a good testing. So right now this gun is just a little bit smoother than some of the other guns out there. Why? Because of how much they slowed down this bolt. Okay, they're running at a really low timing of a bolt. So what I mean by that, basically, long story short, is that you're going to get a lot of air going through this bolt. They slowed it down because the slower that bolt is going to go, and the slower it hits that ball, the smoother it's going to be on paint, and the slower it comes back, the less kick and the less vibration you're going to, less vibration that you're going to get. So just sort of keep that in mind. So if you're like me and you play semi, I play semi during basically all throughout the summer because it's a blast. I absolutely love semi, the coolest thing ever, because you can just shoot however fast you really want in any particular moment. I'm not capped to 10 balls a second, and I'm not capped to, if I don't want to ramp, then I don't have to. So that is really cool about this gun, is that it's really good for ramping, but for semi, you sort of have to remember, if you're like me and you play semi, you're not going to want to go above 12.5 balls a second. You're really not. 15 balls, I would stay like right at 13.5, right at 14, 13.5, 14. That's a good safe number. Just because this bolt, it's not going to move that fast. You're going to have to tune it differently. You're going to have to do some crazy cool stuff with your dwell and just change the settings, and it can do it, but it's not really made to. It's made to go really slow. Guns these days and age, we're not playing the NPPL series anymore where you're 15 balls per second. Okay, so you just sort of have to keep that in mind, is that it's just not like this anymore. Okay, so with the old guns, with like the NTs and the old Bob Longs and all that good stuff, the Planet Eclipse Geos, all that fun stuff, they were really fast, high cycling guns. So they weren't the smoothest, but those bolts, you could feel them come back and hit the back cap. You could feel that kick. You can feel it bounce up. Okay, that's where all that barrel rise would come from, because those fast-moving bolts had to keep up with that rate of fire that you're putting it at. Completely different story. So keep that in mind. If you're playing semi-auto, you're probably going to have a bad time. You're going to chop paint. It's not going to perform like how you're going to want it to. You're going to have first shot drop off, and probably not first shot drop off, but you're going to have drop off on some of your balls. It's not going to be as consistent just because it's not made like that. But when you're at 10 balls a second, when you're at 12.5 balls a second, this thing shoots butter. This thing shoots absolute money. Okay, so overall, it's a fantastic shooter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it out. I'm going to show you the little maintenance of what you have to do on the bolt. Bring it back in, and we'll call it good. Alright, so the Vanquish 2.0. Let's take the bolt out. It's very similar to a Lux. Let's wipe her down. There's not a ton to this entire Empire maintenancing. Spools have a bad rap because, yeah, they go down a little bit more often than the poppets, and you know what? They do take a little bit more loving. I mean, but again, you can go ahead and start the timer and see how fast I can get this sucker done. It's really easy. Just wipe down everything. You want to get all that dirt and that grime and everything off. You don't want to just set new lube right on top of everything. You wipe everything down first to make sure everything's nice and clean. If you're really meticulous like me on a lot of my guns, sometimes I'll give the quick inside a little wipe down, depending upon how bad it is. Give it a little once over. Don't need to take off the spring. There's no point, because you're just going to have to put it back on. There's really no reason. So you getting this cameraman, I mean, you can see how easy this sucker is to maintain. Just take DJ's lube. So there's not much to taking these guns apart. So there's no reason why you shouldn't buy this gun, because maintenance is too hard. Again, going over this, I can talk and do this. I mean, I can basically sleep at the same time. I wouldn't though, because Jacob's already doing that for me. So you can see how easy this is. Again, I made a basic gun maintenance video on how to do lube. If you don't know how to lube your gun, just go watch that video. Don't ask me in the comments, because I'm going to refer to that video. I made videos for a reason. Please don't ask me stupid stuff like that, because, again, everyone needs to know how to lube their gun. I made it easy and made a video for you, so you don't have to ask those questions. I already have them all answered. Take care of your sail O-ring right in here. Let's take this sucker to the park. Look at that. Now, I'm not going to waste any lube in here because you just don't need it. There's no O-rings. There's nothing creating a seal. Just push that sucker back through. Put her back on. Also, remember the inner O-rings. Don't forget the back cap, O-ring, and this last little O-ring in the back so we can create the back seal. And time. So again, how hard was that for me to maintenance? I mean, that was pretty much simple. A caveman can do it. Geico 15% could save you 15 minutes.
Nice.
I did that completely backwards. But anyways, you saw how easy that was. That's not even 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and take this puppy out and do a nice conclusion on it. Very easy to maintain. Overall on this gun, okay, I have to say, very, very, very smooth. Very, very long. You're going to be able to hold the lane amazingly. Good clamping feed neck. Good barrel. ASA, Empire, fix your shit. Trigger, awesome. Grip frame, absolutely amazing. Ergonomics, awesome. You can hold this gun any way that you want. So overall, buy this gun. Okay, I mean, it's an awesome gun. It's a lot of fun to shoot. But you have to remember, are you going to be playing semi? Are you going to be playing ramping? Most people play ramping, but if you're going to play semi, don't recommend it. If you're really going for a really smooth shot and not the most efficient gun out there, I'm not saying it's inefficient. You're going to be able to shoot a lot, in one day, or in one game, I should say. But if you get paid by how many times you fill up your tank, not the most efficient gun out there, so just kind of keep that in mind. But overall, there's not really any complaints other than, like I said, the grip frame in the front is a lot fatter than the one in the back, and it's not a bad fat. I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's like curvy, okay? It's not bad. It's like a good, like, damn, that's still sexy. You know what I mean? So just sort of keep that in mind, to where this one is like a petite one. This one's got a little bit of curves on her, and you're like, hey, I still see you. You're still looking good. So, that's it. I mean, buy this gun if you're really thinking about it. Sort of, like I said, when you're in this price range, you're really looking at personal preference. I've said this in all of the reviews for the most part. Personal preference when you get up to this high of gun, this type of money that you're spending, what do you really want? Do you want a gun that you have to maintenance less and is a little bit more efficient but not as smooth? One that you can shoot on semi a lot better? It just depends, man. It's up to your personal playing style. I can't tell you what your personal playing style is. Only you can answer that question. So I hope that sort of helps narrow down your search for this. But it is an awesome gun, and I can't wait to see what else Empire is going to bang out and what their next gun is going to be. So hope this helps you guys out. Thanks for watching.